Hey guys, it's been a little while since I've made a video. I've got a new one for you today. I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So Lumintop has a new addition to their Thor line of flashlights with the Thor 3. The Thor 3 is the largest of the Leap line from Lumintop. It's powered by 21700 battery or an optional 18650 with the adapter. It's a beast in terms of performance, so I'll have to thank Lumintop for sending it to me to try and show you what it can do. Here is the packaging. I'll roll in some still pictures of it. It's just a plain cardboard box, the outline of the light on it like Lumintop usually does. Inside is the light itself in foam, and you don't really get much in terms of accessories with the Thor 3. You get this adapter here, which is 18650 battery slots inside of, and my light did come with a 21700 that I have installed in the light, and you get this lanyard attachment point that is removable, but I left it on the light, and my battery is just a generic unbranded, unlabeled battery that I'll talk about here in a minute. So let's talk about the construction here on the Thor 3. It is made from aluminum and it is anodized in a relatively flat black. There's very minimal markings on the light itself. The only markings here is Lumintop and the serial number. Thor 3 doesn't actually get written on the light anywhere else, and I think that's a little bit strange, as well as there's no laser warning on this light as a lot of my other Leap lights have had. I don't mind the minimal branding. I actually like it. I'm just a little bit surprised. So let's take a look at the tail cap here. You can see it's milled quite heavily. There are spots for 6 of these glow-in-the-dark vials. They are not tritium, and they're larger in diameter than what I normally see with tritium, so you might be able to find something that would fit and be able to take them out, but I'm not worrying about that for now. They do glow in the dark. Not great, but they get the job done. There is when you're making contact here, the button, which does have the Lumintop rabbit on it, which I thought they got away from that, but this one still has it. There are very dim red LEDs underneath here to help you locate the light. Just take a quick look inside the tail cap there. There is springs on either side there. Threads are fairly square cut and robust, no problems there. And this retention ring here can come off if you wish. Unfortunately, it does rotate around when you have it screwed down all the way, which isn't my favorite feature. The body tapers slightly as you go towards the head, which is kind of natural feeling and nice. It's got a nice milling pattern in here that I like. It's kind of a diamond milling pattern. It provides quite a bit of grip, and the edges are a little bit sharp. I like it better than the knurling that they showed on the prototype of this light, so it looks a little bit more classy than the standard knurling, and I like that. The head does come off as well if you wish it to, and it's also got a little spring in there. You've got some pretty deep milling here on the fins that you can see here. I think this is more for style, but it also functions as heat dissipation. This light doesn't get very hot, so heat dissipation isn't a huge deal. This whole bezel does unscrew fairly easily. I left mine together so I wouldn't have any dust contamination in there. You've got a glass lens, then you've got the convex mirrors underneath there that you can probably barely see. Around the edge here, you think this might glow in the dark inside here, this bezel, but it does not on my example. I think that's a missed opportunity and something I think they could do. It does have a bit of a strike bezel on there to protect that big glass lens. So as far as size and weight, I measured the length at 164 millimeters, the largest diameter at the head at 59.9 millimeters, and the smallest diameter on the body at 25.46 millimeters. Weight with the battery and with the ring on was 344 grams, and the light is IPX8 water rated. And here are a few other pictures with similar Leap lights that I have, so you can kind of guess how big this one is. As mentioned before, you've got retention options. Really, the only thing that's included here is this silver lanyard ring, and even with the tail cap screwed on all the way, it does rotate fairly easily. The good thing is you can remove this if you wish. So let's talk about the emitter. So I've got the head out here. Let's just talk about the emitter on the Thor 3. It uses a laser excited phosphor or LEAP module. The Thor 3 is using the 2nd generation of the module where the laser sits behind the phosphor layer and has a silicon piece on top that focuses the light on into narrower beam. Lenses are then used to direct the light out of the front of the light into the beam we see. The benefit here is this style of module is typically a little bit smaller than the other style, and you can see this in the beam. I think this beam here is really even and consistent. We'll see that in my night shots compared to some of the jet beams and Astroluxes that I've reviewed earlier in the year. They kind of bend in the middle, and I didn't notice this at all with this Thor 3, so you can see it's an improvement. If I stop way down here, you can kind of see the beam pattern here. At low powers and at very short distances, you can see it's not super even, but this really improves at a distance of about 3 to 4 feet. You just don't notice these things. It's just I've got the light about 6 inches from my tabletop. Tint-wise here, no data is given, but I guess somewhere between 6 and 7,000 Kelvin. I do have equipment on the way that should help me measure this more accurately that I can't wait to show you in the new year as soon as I receive it and learn to use it. So stay tuned for that. So let's talk outputs quick. On low, this light produces 40 lumens for over 7 hours, and on high, it produces 400 lumens for 5 minutes before stepping down and running for another 4 hours. It's producing the 1.562 million candela, which is really what this light does best, and that's how you get the 2,500 meters of throw. Okay, here are my night shots for the Lumintop Thor 3. I've got it on here in high mode, 400 lumens, 1.562 million candela. I'm out at the lake again. The dam here is about 1,000 feet away. I'll annotate that if I'm incorrect, but as I bring the light down across the water, you can see it reflect and get pretty bright here and kind of reflect off the surface of the water even. As I bring it closer to the camera, you can see it's a very straight beam profile. It doesn't bend much, which isn't true with some of the lights I'm comparing it to, but you can see here it lights up stuff super well. Remember, this is a spotlight. This is not a general use light. It's a pretty specialized light, but boy does it throw. It's impressive. The best light that I've got to compare it to here is the JetBeam RRT M1X Raptor that I reviewed last year about this time. It's 480 lumens, so it's slightly brighter in terms of lumens, but its candela at 1.32 million is a little bit less, so that means it's slightly brighter but doesn't throw as well. The big difference here you can see here is the beam on this one bends, and I'll try and hold it parallel to the camera so you can kind of see. It bends in the middle there. If I do a heads-up comparison here, the Lumintop Thor 3 is on my right and the JetBeam's on the left. The JetBeam's a little bit more neutral in tint than what I would call the Lumintop, but the Lumintop is more focused, and you can see that up closer here with the JetBeam being on the left and the Lumintop being on the right. At distance here, they produce a similar style beam, the JetBeam being slightly larger of spot with the Lumintop being a little bit less. Both really impressive lights, similar performance, similar physical sizes, similar battery types here. I like the body style of the Lumintop better, and it does have 2 modes. Here is low mode, which is only like 40 lumens, but still throws to that dam relatively easily, but you have a hard time spotting things. So this is a light you use on high for probably about 5 minutes or so before battery kicks in. Thor 2 that I brought along, I forgot to put batteries in it, so I won't be comparing that this time. I ran my runtime tests with the included unlabeled button top protected battery that Lumintop sent with this light. I put it into my VapeCell S4 Plus charger that I've reviewed to do an analysis cycle on it, and it came up with a capacity of 4,987 milliamp hours, so we'll just round and say a solid 5,000 milliamp hours. The Thor 3 claims to run for 5 minutes on high before stepping down. That's exactly what my test showed, as you can see from the graph here. Step down was about 37% of relative output for 5 hours, at which point the light blinked and goes into like an ultra low mode for another 40 minutes. During that time, the hottest the light got was 31.5 centigrade, so really not even warm. In low mode only, the light runs what looks like a little bit more unregulated, and output slowly declines as the cell voltage drops, but you still get above 50% relative output for the entire time. Impressive runtime. It's an impressive runtime when you are used to LEDs that typically run hot for not so long. This light runs cool for a reasonably long amount of time at high output. UI here is super easy. It's a 2-button mode, reverse clicky switch here. You turn it on. I've got it in low here. You can half press again and go up to high, or you can do a full press. Both work. You can double press to go to a very fast strobe. It does have memory, and that's it. There's nothing more confusing about this one. Good, simple UI. My final thoughts on the Thor 3 is that it's the best performing LEAP rotor light that I have, and it's also one of the largest single cell lights that I have that's a LEAP. In terms of performance, this thing is a beast. The 1.562 million candela is nothing to sneeze at. It's amazing to think you can get this much throwing performance out of a single cell light that you can hold in your hand for a long time, and you get that for 5 minutes before step down. You just can't do that with current LED technology. You had lights like the BLF GT that was humongous, used 8 batteries, multiple LEDs. That thing was a beast, and it made about this many candela. This thing is significantly cheaper, much simpler, and just better in most instances for throwing only. I like the look here physically with the body milling and the tail being my favorite parts of the light physically. Performance is good too. You can sustain that high output for the better part of 5 minutes before step down. That equates to throwing performance of 2,500 meters. That's well over 1 mile of performance, about 1.5 miles, and really impressive for a handheld light. As a kid, I would have killed for something like this. I remember using really big mag lights and trying to signal a friend that lived a mile away out of a bedroom window, and it was a ton of fun. With this, it would just be too easy. I still maintain I don't have a lot of practical uses for Leap lights in my daily life other than to amaze people and have an awesome handheld but small spotlight to quiet the neighbor's dog 3 houses down or something like that. If you have land or just want to have some fun in a somewhat impractical spotlight, this is a great option to pick, and coming from Lumintop, if you have any trouble, you should be able to get service for the light too. Let me know what you think of the Thor 3 in the comments below. If you do have a Leap, let me know how you use yours in your daily life. As always, thanks for watching these videos. If you've liked, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the next review soon. Thanks for watching.